Alright, the last step I'm going to do in this portion to finish up the green screen footage is I'm going to make something that looks like clouds, and I'm going to take pictures of clouds and move them in front of the camera so it kind of obscures your vision. And then I'm also going to add like a little bit of a light source too, to give it a different look. Okay, so I'm actually going to delete these and kind of put them back. So as Jeff is flying through the clouds here, you're going to see different clouds. So I'm going to go and make a new layer. So layer, new, solid. Doesn't matter what color it is. I'm just going to call it clouds. And I'm going to look for an effect called particle world. CC particle world. I'm going to drag this onto that white solid. It doesn't look like much at first, but we're going to change a lot of things. Okay. So let's start at particle. We're going to change the colors so that one of them is white and then one of them is kind of a gray blue, so it kind of meshes with the background. We're going to change the particle type from line to faded sphere. We're going to change the particle size, birth size and death size, to at least 1.5 and death size 1.5. So it's going to have this kind of puffiness that already looks like a cloud right there. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up the producer, and I'm going to make it about 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5 for the radius XYZ. Okay, that gives us a bit more depth. Now the explosion, the type of way that the particles are coming out is not really great. So I'm going to actually go to the physics here, and I'm going to do fractal omni. Okay, and that just kind of explodes it in a little bit different way, and I'm going to adjust the velocity so it looks like it just kind of falls down. I'm going to turn the gravity down. I'm going to adjust the angle here, and the gravity vector and the direction axis. So I'm going to have the gravity vector kind of come off. So as Jeff is flying up and to the right, the particles should look like they're coming down. Now I'm going to go up to the birth rate and crank that up so it looks, very full. And lastly, I go up to grids and guides, and I'm going to turn off the position, radius, motion path, and grid floor. So now it looks kind of like he's flying through a bunch of kind of faded spheres. Okay. I'm also going to add some blurring to this, so I'm going to go over to my effects and type in blur, B-L-U-R, and I'm looking for fast blur. I can also just type fast, and I'm going to put it either onto this layer, the clouds layer, or into the effect controls area. And I'm going to just crank up the blurriness, so it just looks a little bit more faded. Okay. Now to make this effect look even better, I'm going to actually bring in my cloud.ping file. Okay, and I'm going to put this in front of the footage here and turn off my clouds there so we can see my cloud. And I'm going to have the cloud go from off and to the right, and it's going to move down and to the left. Okay, so I go to cloud.ping, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go to transform, and I'm going to do position. I'm going to enable the position keyframes, go about a second into it, and then move it down and to the left. Now this cloud is also a little bit too sharp, so I'm going to put a fast blur onto that cloud. Increase the blurriness to about 30 something. That's good. I'm going to enable the motion blur. That's this button here. So I'm going to make sure it's turned on for the whole composition. Click these kind of bouncing ball icons to enable motion blur. And what that does is it just gives it a little bit more blur as it moves from right to left. Okay. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and maybe move the points off. Now I'm going to take this cloud.png and I'm going to make it shorter in the timeline. So it just takes up that amount of time, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I can go to Edit and duplicate that layer, or I can do Control D on the keyboard. I'm going to move this new duplicated layer forward, and I'm going to change the endpoints of where it goes to. And I'm going to do this a couple more times. Move that cloud forward a little bit. And then one more, Control D. Move it forward a little bit. And move the endpoints here. Just like that. So now our composition looks like this. The clouds pass in front like that. I can also turn on that. And if you notice at the beginning, the clouds suddenly start to form like that. I don't really like that look. So all I got to do is on the clouds layer here, I'm going to just slide that to the left a little bit. So it just starts right away. And there we see Jeff kind of coming in. And that's probably about all we'll need right there. Okay. Now we can also add in a light layer if you want to make it look a little bit more interesting. But it's really not going to work unless the layers are 3D, and I think this is going to be good enough for our purposes today. Okay, so that's how you finish up the green screen footage, as you make it look like Jeff is passing through some clouds using those effects, and we have that background stuff moving, and it looks really, really nice. Okay,